Friends, my name is Satyadev Kulluru. Today, me and my team, Satish Kumar Mandala, Jayachandra Rapulu, and Shiva Nagapuri are going to give a presentation on Linux shell programming. Shell programming. Shell provides interface to the Linux system. It gathers input from you and executes program based on that input. When a program finishes executing, it displays that program's output. It is the environment in which we can use commands, programs, and as well as shell scripts. Coming to shell scripts. Shell scripts. Basic concept of shell script is a list of commands listed in the order of execution. A good shell script will always have commands followed by the pound sign describing the steps. Shell scripts has the following: conditional tests, loops, files, variables, and functions. Conditional tests such as a value A which is greater than value B. Now coming to loops. Loops allows us to go through massive amount of data. And then files. Files are used to read and as well as store data. Variables to read and store data as well. Shell scripts and functions are both interpreted. This means they are not compiled. Example shell scripts. Now let us see an example of a shell script. Assume that now we are writing a .sh shell script. Now we have to note here that every shell script has a .sh extension. Before you write anything else to the system, we need to alert the system that a shell script is being created. Okay, and this is done by using the shebang construct. Now let us see what the how shebang construct looks like. This is a shebang construct. This is basically called as shebang construct because the hash key is called hash, and then the exclamatory is known as the bang. So it has the name shebang. Now coming to shell types. There are two major types of shell types, which are the basic shell types. Basically, there are two types of shells, which are the Bourne shell and the C shell. The basic prompt in the Bourne shell is the $ symbol, and the basic prompt in the C shell is the percentile symbol. Now going in detail in the two types of shells, now we have subcategories in Bourne shell, which are Bourne shell, Corn shell, Bourne again shell, and POSIX shell. Now coming to the C-type shells, we have only two types of shells in C-type, which are C shell and the TENIX or tops.c shell.
Hi friends, now I am going to tell about commands in Linux. First is the ls command. It is used to list the file in the directory path. ls has multiple options. Let's discuss some of them. ls-a, it is used to list hidden files. ls-t, sort by time modified instead of name. ls-r, it is used to list subdirectories encountered. Next is the cd command. It is used to change your position in the directory tree. It is used to navigate your path in the directory path. mv command, it is used to move a file from one directory to another directory. Next coming to rm command, it is used to delete a file. Next is the date command. It is used to print the current date and the time. mkdir, it is used to create a directory. Next coming to rmdir, it's used to delete a directory. For doing this command, the directory must be empty. And next coming to file compression, backing up and restoring commands. Compress command, it is used to compress the data. Next coming to uncompress, it is used to expand the data. Next is the cpio command. It is used to store files on tapes and from archives. Next coming to zzip, it is used to zip a file to a ZZ file. Next is the gunzip, that is used to unzip a file to a ZZ file. Next coming to TAR, it is used to archive files and directories, and it stores files and directories on tapes. Next is the zip command. It is used to compress a file to a .zip file. Next is the unzip command, used to uncompress a file with .zip extension. Next is the cat command. It is used for viewing a file. For example, cat file name, used to display a file. Next is CMP, that is compare. It is used to compare two files. Next is the cut command. It removes a section from each of the lines in a file. Chmod command, it is used to change the file permissions. For example, chmod 751 myfile, it is used to change a file permissions to read, write, execute for owner, read, execute for group, and execute for others. Next is CHONN, that is change owner. For example, change owner, owner1 file name, it's used to change ownership of file to owner1. Change group command, it is used to change a group of a file to group 1. For example, change group 1 file name, that is, it is used to change a group of file to group 1. Next, coming to CP command, it is used to copy a file from one location to another location. For example, CP file 1 file 2. It copies file 1 from file 2. DIFF, that is difference command, it is used to show the difference between the files. For example, DIFF file 1 file 2, it is used to find differences between file 1 and file 2. Next, coming to echo command, it is used to display a line of text. Next is the grep command, it is to list the file with the specified expression. For example, grep science.txt. It is used to display the text in that .txt format. Next is the sleep command, it is used to delay for a specified amount of time. Next is the sort command, it is used to sort a file alphabetically. Next is the unique command, it is used to remove duplicate lines from a sorted file. Next is the word count, WC command, it is used to count lines, words, characters in a file. That is WC-C by L file name.
Shell scripting. The VA is generally considered the factor standard in Linux editors because it's usually available in all the flavors of Unix system. Its implementations are very similar across the board. It requires very few resources. It is more user-friendly than any other editors like ED or EX. We can use VA editor to edit an existing file or to create a new file from scratch. You can also use this editor to just read a text file. Start VA script file name .sh with file name shebang/bin/sh. All other lines starting with hash are comments. Make code readable by including comments. While working with VA editor, we would come across two modes, command mode and insert mode. Command mode. This mode enables you to perform administrative tasks such as saving files, executing commands, moving the cursor, cutting and pasting lines or words, and finding and replacing. In this mode, whatever you type is interpreted as command. Insert mode. This mode enables you to insert text into the file. Everything that's typed in this mode is interpreted as input, and finally it is put in the file. The script file is executable by the commands like chmod u+x script file name.sh and /script file name.sh. The shebang line. The first line of the script shebang contains a string beginning with hash and exclamatory. This is not a comment line. It is called the interpreter line, hashbang or shebang line. When the shell executes, the login shell reads this line first to determine the path name of the program to be used for running the script. Code characters. There are three different core characters with different behavior. These are double quote, single quote, and backquote. Double quote. This is most special character between these quotes lose their special meaning with these exceptions, and it is a weak quote. Single quote. All special characters between these quotes lose their special meaning, and the single quote is a strong quote. Backquote. Anything in between backquotes would be treated as a command and would be executed. For example, we can use this backquote in displaying the date. Debugging your shell scripts. Generous use of the echo command will help to debug our shell scripts. Run script with the -x parameter. For example, sh-x /myscript or set -o xtrace before running the script. These options can be added to the first line of the script where the shell is defined. For example, shebang/bin/sh -xv. of shell script. vi my first script.sh shebang /bin/sh. The first example of shell script: echo hello world, echo the date today is, echo the current directory is $directory. By executing this, we can get hello world, the today date, and the current directory we are working on.
Programming features of shell includes variables, operators, and logical structures. Variables are the areas of memory that can be used to store information and are referred to by a name. The name of the variable must be followed by an equal sign without any spaces. And we can assign the information which we want to store. The variables must start with a letter. Its name must not contain spaces, punctuation marks, and we can use underscore instead. Environment variables are the variables which starts during the shell session. These are already set by the startup file. We can see these environment variables by using print env command. There are two types of variables, the system defined variables and user defined variables. System defined variables are the variables which are created and maintained by the bash shell itself, and these are defined in capital letters. For example, home, path, bash underscore version, hostname, these are all these are known as the system defined variables. We can use the echo command to display the value of a variable. Script can also contain some special variables. For example, $0 will give the file name of a current script, and $n gives the corresponding position of an argument. The $hash gives the number of arguments supplied to a system. The variable $question mark will give the exit status of the last command executed, and dollar followed by a dollar gives the process number of the current shell. Shell supports variables that can support multiple values at the same time. The array provides a method of grouping set of variables. They can be defined by using array underscore name equal to followed by some set of values enclosed in a closed bracket. The shell supports different types of operators. There are arithmetic, relational, boolean, string, file test operators. There must be a space between the operands, operators, and expression. A complete expression should be enclosed in inverted commas. The command expr works on arithmetical operators like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modulative division, and for example, the command a equal to $b assigns a value of b into a. Shell supports relational operators which are specific to some numerical values. For example, the command a equal to b checks the value of the operands which are equal or not. And shell supports boolean operators which are used to perform logical negation, logical OR, and logical AND operations. And the string operators performs on string variables, like for example, if a string a holds a value a equal to abc and a string b holds a value b equal to efg, the operation $a equal to $b checks whether these strings are equal or not. Supports file test operators which test various properties of Linux files. For example, the command -b space file will checks whether a file is block specific or not. The command -c space file will checks whether the file is a character specific file or not. The four basic logic structures needed for program development are sequential logic, decision logic, looping logic, and the case logic. Sequential logic is used to execute commands in the order in which they appear in a program. The decision logic is used to execute commands only if a certain condition is satisfied. The looping logic is used to repeat a series of commands for a given number of times.
The case logic is used to replace the if, then else if or else statements when making numerous comparisons. Codes conditional statements which are used to perform different actions based on different conditions. Here we will explain the following decision making statements: the if else statement and the case followed by ESAC statement. The if else statements are useful decision making statements which can be used to select an option from a given set of options. The Linux shell supports the following form of if else statements: the if fi statement, if else fi statement, if else if statements. The case ESAC statements are used to perform a multi-way branch instead of if elif commands. The most general form of the if construct is like if the condition executes successfully, then the code present in the conditional statement will be executed, else if the next statements will be executed. Loops are powerful programming tools that enable you to execute a set of commands repeatedly. The Linux shell supports the following loops: the while loop, for loop, until, and the select loops. Looping of a loop is performed either a predetermined number of times determined by a list of items in the loop count. To provide flexibility to the loop constructors, we can use break and continue statements. Loops have limited life and they come out once the condition is true or false depending on the loop. The loop may continue forever due to a required condition is not met. A loop that executes forever without terminating executes an infinite number of times. During these cases, we can use the break statement, which can be used to terminate the execution of the entire loop. It is similar to the break statement except that it causes the current iteration of the loop to exit rather than to terminate the entire loop. This statement is useful when an error has occurred but you want to try to execute the next iteration of the loop. The case structure compares a string usually contained in a variable to one or more patterns and executes a block of code associated with the matching pattern. The syntax of a case statement will be like this: case argument in pattern 1 execute the commands, and pattern 2 execute the commands. Finally, it will be terminated by using ESAC.